My name is Mabel P. Hargett, and I'm 29 years old. Until 3 weeks ago, I thought I had my life figured out. I had a steady job, a decent apartment, and a boyfriend I had been with for 4 years. His name was Adrian, and for a long time, I thought we were building something real. We met at a mutual friend's birthday party. He was charming in that effortless way, the kind of man who could make a room feel like it had been waiting for him. He worked in marketing for a tech startup, always ambitious, always chasing the next title, the next deal, the next room he wanted to be important in. I respected that. I thought ambition meant he was building a future with me. Maybe I should have noticed sooner that he never said with me, only for himself. The night everything fell apart was supposed to be a celebration. His company had just closed a major deal, and Adrian wanted to throw a party at our apartment. I spent the entire day cleaning. I vacuumed, wiped counters, arranged snacks, chilled drinks, set up music, and made sure everything looked effortless for people who would never know how much effort it took. Around 30 people came. Coworkers, friends, a few strangers who looked like they had been invited because they had useful job titles. Adrian moved through the room like a host on camera, laughing too loudly, touching shoulders, making everyone feel like he was inches away from becoming someone powerful. I was in the kitchen refilling ice when I heard his voice cut through the music. Honestly, I don't know why I'm still with her. I froze. He was near the balcony with 3 coworkers, drink in hand, smiling like this was just another funny story. One woman said, "Come on, Adrian. Mabel seems nice." Adrian laughed, not warmly. "Nice doesn't pay for a lifestyle," he said. "Nice doesn't get you into the rooms that matter. I need someone who matches my energy. Someone going places." The bag of ice in my hand started melting against my palms. For a second, I could not move. My mind tried to soften what I heard, to turn it into a joke, a misunderstanding, a drunk exaggeration. But then, Adrian looked up and saw me standing there. Our eyes locked. He did not look guilty. He looked annoyed that I had heard. I walked over calmly and set the ice on the table beside them. Conversations nearby started thinning, like everyone sensed something had shifted. Then Adrian said it, loud enough for everyone around us to hear. "You'll never be good enough for me." The room went quiet. I could feel every pair of eyes turn toward us. Someone lowered their drink. Someone near the couch whispered my name. My chest tightened so sharply I thought I might actually stop breathing, but I was not going to break in front of him. I smiled. Not because I was happy, because it was the only way to keep my face from showing the wound. "Maybe you're right," I said softly. Then I turned, grabbed my keys from the counter, walked out the door, got into my car, and drove away without looking back. I did not know where I was going. I just drove for hours with the windows down and the music off, trying to understand how someone could say something that cruel in a room I had cleaned for him. Around midnight, I checked into a budget hotel near the airport. I turned my phone off, lay on top of the scratchy comforter, and stared at the ceiling until sunrise started leaking through the curtains. When I woke up, my phone had 47 missed calls and more than 100 texts. Most were from Adrian. I ignored them. One message was from Natalie, one of his friends from work. She had always been kind to me, one of the few people in his circle who treated me like a person instead of an accessory. Her text said, "Hey, I know you probably don't want to talk, but you should know something. Can I call?" I typed back, "Not ready. Just text me." The typing dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then her message came. "You know what he said after you left?" My stomach dropped. "What?" A few seconds later she replied, "He said, 'Good. Now I don't have to break up with her before Monaco. Brianna will be so much easier to deal with.'" Brianna, his boss, the woman he had been working late nights with for 6 months, the woman he called his mentor, the woman who was apparently taking him to Monaco. I sat on the edge of that hotel bed for 20 minutes, staring at the message until the words stopped looking real. Then I logged into our shared cloud account. The one we used for photos and documents. He had never changed the password. There was a folder titled Work Trips. Inside were dozens of photos. Adrian and Brianna in Miami. Adrian and Brianna in New York. Adrian and Brianna in a hotel room too expensive to be innocent. Champagne on the nightstand. Her hand on his chest. His arm around her waist. The timestamps went back 9 months. 9 months of late meetings. 9 months of mentorship. 9 months of me covering bills, cleaning apartments, supporting his stress, and believing his ambition included me. I closed the laptop. I did not scream. I did not cry. I just sat there in the cheap hotel room, staring at the wall, realizing Adrian had been right about one thing. I was not good enough for the life he wanted, because the life he wanted required someone willing to be lied to. And that was not going to be me. I did not go back to the apartment for 3 days. I stayed in that budget hotel near the airport, ordered takeout I barely tasted, and started planning. Not revenge in the loud, dramatic sense. I did not want to scream online or throw his clothes into the street. I wanted to make sure I did not come out of this destroyed financially, emotionally, or legally. First, I called a lawyer. The apartment was in both our names, but I had been paying 70% of the rent for the past 2 years because Adrian was investing in his career. The furniture, the TV, the expensive espresso machine, he insisted, made us look more adult. Most of it had come from my money. My lawyer told me to document everything, so I did. Bank statements, credit card records, rent payments, receipts, texts where Adrian asked me to cover his half just this once, except once had turned into a lifestyle. On day 4, I went back. Adrian was sitting on the couch with red eyes, the apartment still half wrecked from the party, empty bottles on the counter, dirty plates stacked near the sink, sticky floor. The room still looked like the moment I had walked out had been paused and left to rot. "Where have you been?" he asked, standing. I was worried sick. "Were you?" "Of course I was. You just left." "You told 30 people I would never be good enough for you," I said. "What exactly did you expect me to do?" His face shifted. The fake concern fell away. "I was drunk," he said. "I did not mean it like that." "Which part? The part where nice does not pay for a lifestyle? Or the part where you said I was not going places?" "You were eavesdropping. You were talking about me 10 feet away." He crossed his arms. "Look, I am sorry your feelings were hurt, but I need more than comfortable. I am building something. I need someone who understands that." I nodded slowly. "Does Brianna understand?" For 1 second his eyes widened. "Who told you?" He stopped too late. I pulled out my phone and opened the cloud folder. Then I held up a photo of him and Brianna in bathrobes, champagne beside them, her hand resting on his chest. His face went white. "Get out," I said. "This is my apartment too." "Then remember this. I have the payment records. I have the photos. And if you fight me on leaving, I will send everything to HR. I looked up the policy. No fraternization between supervisors and subordinates, especially when company travel and expense reports are involved. He stared at me like I had become someone else. "You would not. Try me." He left that night. From what Natalie told me later, he went straight to Brianna. I changed the locks the next morning. Technically messy with the lease, but I was done pretending fairness meant letting someone keep hurting me politely. 2 days later, Natalie called again. "You need to hear this," she said. "He is telling people you were abusive, that you controlled his money and isolated him from friends." My body went cold. "He posted about escaping a toxic relationship," she continued. "People are believing him." I asked her to screenshot everything. Then I called my lawyer again. He told me not to engage. No emotional posts. No public fighting. Just document. 3 days later, Adrian posted publicly. A long, emotional story about finding courage after narcissistic abuse. He did not name me, but everyone knew. My phone started filling with messages, some concerned, some cruel. People who barely knew me suddenly had opinions about my character. I wanted to post the photos. I wanted to burn his version of the story down. But I waited. Then Brianna made the mistake for him. She commented under his post, something soft and supportive about being there through his healing. Within 24 hours, someone reported them to HR. Apparently, people at their company had suspected the affair for months, but her comment gave the rumors a place to land. The investigation took 2 weeks. During that time, I broke the lease, paid the penalty, and moved into a smaller place across town. I wanted distance more than I wanted the money. Then Natalie called with the update. HR had uncovered more than the affair. Brianna had been approving inflated expense reports for their work trips. Hotels, meals, upgrades, extras hidden under client travel. Small amounts at first, then bigger ones. They both got fired. Adrian called the day it happened. I did not answer. He left a voicemail. "This is your fault. You ruined my life because you could not handle me being successful." I deleted it. A week later, Brandon, Brianna's husband, texted me from an unknown number. He had found out everything. He did not ask for drama, only the truth. I sent him what I had. Photos, dates, screenshots. He replied once. "Thank you. I am sorry you were dragged into this too." Then silence. About a month later, I ran into one of Adrian's old co-workers at a coffee shop. She looked embarrassed, then came over anyway. "I owe you an apology," she said. I believed him. It is fine. It is not. He is not the only one she destroyed. Brianna is telling people now that Adrian manipulated her, that she was scared to say no because she was his boss. She is throwing him under the bus to save herself. I almost laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was predictable. 3 months have passed now. Adrian moved back in with his parents in another state. Brianna's husband left her, and from what I hear, she is fighting to stay in the industry. Adrian is struggling to find work too. I do not feel sorry for either of them. As for me, I am doing better than okay. I got a small promotion. I moved into a place I actually like. I started going to the gym again, not to impress anyone, but because feeling strong in my own body matters now. I even went on a date last week with a man named Caleb. Nothing serious, just coffee, easy conversation, and the strange relief of sitting across from someone who did not make me feel small. Natalie and I still talk sometimes. She apologized more than once for not saying something sooner. I told her it was not her responsibility, but I am grateful she finally did. Sometimes I still think about that night. Standing in my own apartment, holding melting ice, hearing the person I loved tell strangers I would never be good enough. The strange thing is, Adrian was right, in a way. I was not good enough for him, because his version of good enough meant shrinking myself around his ambition, ignoring his lies, paying for his comfort, and smiling while he treated me like a placeholder. I am good enough for me now. That is what matters.